Welcome to another episode of Arts Place Conservative Talk from a Different View. We've got a great show today. Lloyd and we will be talking with a great guest. He's been on before, he's changed gears. He's no longer running in CD6, but he's running in CD7. Yes, that's Casper Stockham. So let me bring up my illustrious co host, Lloyd Mendenhall. Oops.
Oh,
And
and
we'll,
we looks like we got our guest in too.
all right. So,
So
and then we have our guest, Casper Stockham. I will unmute him. And now we are live.
yeah,
So, welcome, Lloyd, and welcome, Casper.
thanks for having me, Art. You know,
Absolutely.
I always enjoy working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Casper,
Yes,
you
sir.
have switched around on us. You're no longer in CD6, but you are in CD7. Enlighten us. Why the change?
Yeah, so it all kind of unfolded over the past few weeks. So I was gearing up for the assembly, the CD6 assembly. I had guests coming in town. We had a series of meet and greets set up, fundraisers setting up, all kinds of activity. I mean, I purchased a lot of literature, stickers, and bumper stickers, and yard signs and T-shirts. I mean, it was going to be a great time in CD6. I was looking forward to the assembly in CD6 because that was going to be the first time that I'd be able to show the support that I have in six. So I was expecting a 40 plus or percentage vote to get on the ballot. So it was pretty clear I was going to get on the ballot.
Right.
Um, so this virus stuff started happening and events start shutting down. And it was looking like we weren't going to have a physical assembly.
Right.
A problem for my race because I was counting on the excitement to generate more revenue for the campaign. We have revenue, but not nearly what we need to really continue strong.
Right.
Um, and knowing that I would get on the ballot for sure, but I still would have to now compete with the money with no money, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
So then the folks at City Seven, totally separate from everything I just said, the leadership in City Seven called me and said, "Hey, we know you're running in six, but if things don't work out well in six, would you consider running in seven?" And at the time, I said, "No, I'm not really interested because six is where I'm focused." But I told them I would not say no. I would think about it, pray about it. I would talk to my campaign team about it and people that I have a lot of respect for.
Right.
So as I started to reach out to other people and explain to them what's going on, Art, it was 100% of the people I talked to. Not one person, after I explained everything, said that it was a bad move to go to seven. They said everybody said it was a good move. So we started to really fine tune what that would look like. I reached out to Ken Buck, the state chair, told him about the idea. He thought it was a good idea. I reached out to my opponent, Steve House, and he was even more excited about it naturally because now instead of us fighting together, we could potentially work together.
Right.
So he was interested in helping me, which I was excited about as well,
One.
because with help from Steve and the state party and the great folks in Jefferson County and Adams County, we could put up a really good run against Perlmutter, who is tired. He wants to retire, so we need to retire him, and and I would have a really good chance of beating him. So we just put all this together, and it took about a week and a half. We put out a joint press release on Friday, and so far I've only had two people out of thousands who have said, there's always going to be somebody negative about
Yeah.
the situation. But for the most part, it's been overwhelmingly positive. So I'm excited. If it wasn't for this virus right now, we would be organizing meetings. We would be just, just firing things up in a big way. So we're going to have to kind of wait until we can gather again in groups of more than 10
Mhm. Right.
and
Hmm.
start planning this out. Um, so I want to get out one more quick thing about this. Tonight at 6 p.m., I'm going to have a live town hall meeting to where we're going to talk about this some more and lay out the plan for Jeffco. So at 6 p.m. tonight, you can get information on my Facebook page, also on my website,
Right.
casperfordcolorado.com. We're going to have a live town hall meeting. They can ask questions, they can interact with us as we lay out the plan for CD7.
Hmm. Wonderful. Even Lloyd's dogs agree with the switch.
Yeah, I'm glad that I grew up in Westminster. Of course, it was Adams County. I assume it's still Adams County.
Well, half is in Adams County and
Well,
half
Yeah,
Jeff.
I lived in the Adams County side,
Right.
and I'm I'm glad somebody like you will hopefully be representing Adams County, because it's just
right,
I still have kids that grew up with it. Some of them moved back to the same old street that we lived on, take care of
sure.
their parents and stuff. And I think it's fantastic. And you're the kind of guy, and I'll get a couple of them I know to start uh, taking a look at you. And I got one good friend that she's actually moving to Oklahoma after her dad passes,
Mhm.
and she'll be living here, which is strange that we grew up in this. But anyways, I'll contact her and say, hey, you need to vote for this guy.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, we've been able to turn potential rivals or enemies, if you will, because it was going to be a nasty primary fight. I wasn't going to give up without a fight, and they weren't going to let me win without a fight. So they were gearing up for it, for more attacks. I was gearing up for attacks. We were going to spend a lot of money, and then at the end of the day, I'd be bloody. Steve would be bloody. The
Right.
party would be in shambles, and
Yeah.
then try to regroup so we can support the winner of that battle against Crow.
Right.
So I reached out to Steve. He agreed. So we put out a joint press release. And I'm hoping to receive a lot of support from Steve and Ken and the big money establishment, if you will, because we have not really supported anyone running in 7, 2, or 1
Hmm.
for many years because um, we have stated that those areas are Democrat controlled areas, so we're not even going to bother. And that is the absolute wrong way to handle any of these races.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we don't need to put all of our money into those races, but we definitely need to show support for
Hmm.
the for men and women who step up and want to run against the Democrat opponent, knowing that it's a very tough fight.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know that all too well because I ran in House District 41, which was predominantly Democrat,
Right.
and I didn't fare any better than the previous candidate that
Right.
ran before me. However, Molly Barrett did a really good job. She was within 9 points of Jovan Melton. I think she's the closest out of all the candidates
Sure.
in many years
Yeah.
to come close to beating.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, Oklahoma, when I first moved here, this second district in Oklahoma was it was Democrat. I couldn't even vote in the primary because we have primary elections rather, and because there's no Republicans running, and so for up until the last time I voted in the Democratic primary, even though I've been a Republican since Nixon,
Sure.
uh, you know, the last time I voted in the Democratic primary, it was Hillary against Barack Obama. And I actually voted for Hillary back then. And
Yeah.
then right after the primary, we had enough Republicans in the state that I switched to Republicans where I could vote. I always voted Republican anyways, but I had to vote because we had no primaries. There were so few
Right.
Republicans, and now it's turned around. I talked to an old businessman here. He's an old blue dog Democrat, and he says, "I'm switching parties. This is not the party I
Yeah.
grew up in.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
Oklahoma's in the South, so
Yeah.
we have the
You know,
Southern Democrats.
yeah. To that point, another thing that made it a very easy decision for us at the end of the day, Art, and was Jefferson County has been a big supporter of me and my races since the beginning because parts of CD1
Right.
spill into Jeffco.
That's right.
So I would always win Jefferson County, but then I would lose Denver because and you add them both together, that spells a loss for CD1. But I would always win Jefferson County. Also, 70% of my support right now, currently in 1 and in 6, 70% come from Jefferson County.
Right.
Excellent,
Comes from the
excellent.
Tea Parties, comes from the great folks in Jefferson County. So I have a very good base already in place in Jefferson County. And I have a strong support in Adams County. So I believe we are really in the best position to go up against Perlmutter and win this cycle.
Hmm.
Do you see when I grew when I was in Denver, it was Colorado was a conservative state. I mean, we had uh, uh, over in Westminster, I guess it would be CD7.
Right.
We had a Republican representative,
Mhm.
and in the Congress, and
Yeah.
I didn't know that it had gone this liberal
Yeah.
because I lost touch with
Sure.
it's been over 45 years since I lived there. So,
Sure. Yeah.
in
Hmm.
Colorado, period. But yeah,
Mhm.
do you think it's going to switch back? Do you see it swinging back the other way now?
Well, I can't say as I see a movement swinging back, other than the Trump phenomena, which is turning a lot of blue areas red for the presidential races. But I do know that there are quite a few mayors in that county, Adams and
Jefferson.
Jeffco,
Yeah.
Right.
who are Republican. So one of my plans is to talk to all of those mayors, talk to the Hispanic pastors in that area because a lot of them are conservative as well.
Right.
Right.
There's 20% Hispanic
Hmm.
population in Jefferson Adams County, so there's a lot of low hanging fruit that we can reach out to and get them excited about our race. I think that we have the best chance, because it's just the times. Okay, the times we're in right now with Trump. Even though this virus has taken a hit on our economy, has taken a hit because of the virus. I think we're going to come out of the other side of this before the election hits, and that's going to be as strong for Trump's
Hmm.
his reelection.
Yeah. 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 Actually see the economy rebounding. It was my feeling is with the stock market, it was time for a reset anyways.
Yeah.
You just I don't care what you do, you just can't keep going higher and higher and
Yeah.
higher and higher without yeah, you're going to hit some point where it's sort of like the old Amway. Eventually you, everybody's going to own it or everybody's going to be a seller, and then pretty soon, it collapses.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And the coronavirus was just the catalyst for that, you
sure.
know. And I
Well,
think a lot of that was done by the press just to hurt I mean, it can
still,
hurt the president, and because the coronavirus is bad and it's been deadly, but if you take the precautions, but I think a lot of it is the press has just gone nuts with it.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And the when the economy bounces back, see these stocks right now are at a bargain price.
Yeah.
These blue chip stocks. If I do get the $1,000 or whatever it is coming from the government, I know it's not a free gift, but I'm going to turn around and put it right into the stock market.
Yep.
Buy.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy.
Yeah, that's a good excellent idea, you know,
Absolutely.
Hmm.
because you're reinvesting in the country.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know, so yeah, that's
Oh, and another thing that fell further than the stocks, do you know that cryptocurrencies have dropped almost 50%?
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
now those are at a bargain.
Hmm.
And, I'm not saying put all $1,000 into cryptocurrencies. Maybe take $100, put that in, and maybe in a few years it might be 500 or $1,000.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good point. So if I was planning out my strategy right now, I don't have the 1,000 right now, but if I had it, I probably would put 100 in cryptocurrencies and the other nine into the top nine blue
Right.
chip stocks. Yeah.
Art. One of these days, I'm going to have to sit down with you, and you're going to have to explain to this old man what cryptocurrency is. Because to me, I'm thinking of the days when I was gaming and how we used to buy and sell the gold to buy. You could go buy it online and then buy items in the game. In my mind, that's what cryptocurrency is, something you use for when you're playing games online.
Well, today you can have a debit card that's attached to your uh, cryptocurrency account,
Right.
and you can go shopping with it just like you do any other card. You can go to
Yep.
Walmart, go to
Really.
buy gas. What? Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Usually I'm on top of this stuff, but this cryptocurrency is just, you know,
Yeah.
I,
Well, I mean, it's a whole long story, and I
yeah,
I will discuss
yeah,
it with
off,
you
off
because
air.
there
Yeah.
are a
We'll talk.
lot of other intricacies in it
Yeah.
that, well, we'll talk about it
As
later.
I said, we'll talk about it after. It just kind of goes over my head, but
Right.
because I'm still thinking of the old gaming days,
Yeah, back like
you
the
know.
online
Yeah.
games where you get tokens for X
Well,
amount of dollars, and
or yeah, back in the early days of World of Warcraft, before
yeah.
they made it a rule, you could go.
Yeah.
Some somebody will have gone out there and earned the gold in the game, and then sell it online, and then you could buy it. They'd drop it over for real money and put it in your account, and then you could go spend it in the game. It's like, and now World of Warcraft, the company that owns them, actually does that. I'm still thinking that's what's in my mind when you
Mhm.
say
Yeah.
cryptocurrency.
Well,
Yep.
and some of that does apply to cryptocurrencies.
Yep.
There's a lot
Hmm.
more to it, but some of that thought process and the mechanism of how that works does apply to cryptocurrency. So you're not that far off.
Hmm.
Okay, good. Well,
Yep.
at least I'm
Yeah.
not totally lost in the world. I'm not a dinosaur. Well, I'm getting close, but
Anyway,
not yet.
what do you guys? What are your guys' thoughts on the whole coronavirus? I call it the Wuhan virus. Um, they're mad at Trump for calling it the China virus.
Yeah.
So if
Well,
I was him, I'd say, okay, fine. It's not the China virus. It's the Wuhan virus.
Yeah,
yeah.
I call it
Yeah.
the kung flu.
Kung
Yeah.
flu.
I mean, it originated in China, so
Right.
that I mean,
I,
that's where it came from, and I would call it that too. But I think Trump's strategy is to kind of rile up people, and that keeps him in the news.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that's what this whole thing about Twitter and calling it the China virus is to really kind of get people all riled up and keeping his face, his name out there. Then everybody knows who Trump is,
Yeah.
and then he's able to use that platform to go after some of these reporters, so-called
Yeah.
reporters, who distort uh, the message, or what they call what it's become. It's not reporting anymore. It's
Sure.
opinion journalism. It's
Right.
opinion masquerading as news. So we're not.
He knows how to get them. He knows how to get them riled up for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a part of his power. His superpower is to get them riled up.
Mhm.
Uh, one of the press conferences, I think it was last week, the reporter said, why do you keep calling it the China virus? He said, because it's from China.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Well, and that's what is that's part of the art of the deal type thing. If you keep your opponent off balance, if you keep poking at them, they're going to make mistakes because they let their emotions get so out of control that eventually they show what they're like,
Right. Show the true colors.
and that is his superpower. He knows how to play the press, and he fights like a New Yorker. You know,
Yep.
Mhm.
There you go. There you go.
Well,
But what do you think about the legitimacy of shutting all these businesses and economies down? I think there's been some overreach. Matter of fact, I think there's been a lot of overreach from the government perspective on this. I think the coronavirus, Wuhan virus, whatever you want to call it, I believe it is serious. We take it seriously,
right.
just like I would take any virus seriously.
Mm.
I wouldn't dismiss any virus as, oh, it's just a virus. No, no, let's take it seriously. Let's practice
Right.
better hygiene and better controls on things. Absolutely. But should we be shutting every restaurant, business, theater, all this stuff down because of this? I think it's overkill.
Yeah,
well,
I think so as well. I mean, it's not the bubonic plague; it's the flu, and
Right.
the
Yeah,
people the
it,
people
it's a
that are
flu.
dying from it have compromised immune systems. Like we just recently had a guy here in Colorado who uh, beat cancer, but because of that, his immune system has been compromised,
Right.
and that's why he died at the age of what, 35, 40.
Yeah.
And older people and
Yeah.
very young people.
So what we should do is we should make sure those people are sequestered or whatever, or protected, however you want to look at it. Anyone that's vulnerable, regardless of their age, if they've had complications with things, heart disease, whatever, then
yeah,
they should be protected. But the rest of us who are healthy, we need to keep this economy going, so that those people who are quarantined or whatever will have an economy to come back to once
Right.
this is over.
Mhm.
yeah, and that's the problem because the way they're doing it now, there's going to be some small businesses that will not recover. Uh,
Right.
Mhm.
I get inundated with emails of different places that I've bought from and stuff about how they're handling it. I
Right.
just I just got a who did I get the email from? It was fairly good size. Oh, Best Buy.
Yeah.
Uh, their policy now is, you know, order it online. We'll bring it to you we'll bring it to you. Can't come into the store, but we will bring it to you at the curbside
Right.
and to pick up. And but if you have forgot to order in advance, there will be somebody there who will gladly go inside and get it for you and bring it to you.
Yeah.
Like, really? I like just to wander around Best Buy to just something to do on a boring day.
Yeah. Well, those
Yeah,
days are gone, my friend.
they'll probably come out in a hazmat suit with tongs holding
I,
your
Here you
I,
go.
product.
Here you
yeah,
go. Here's your
Mendenhall. Have a good day.
here's your digital camera, Lloyd.
There you
We didn't
go.
touch, we didn't touch it though, but here you go.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
It's been
And the thing
sterilized,
is,
irradiated, and
right.
no viruses, no bacteria.
And what really bothers me is that people like that and companies like that are going to do that, and they honestly probably will come walking out with a
Yeah,
mask. Those masks they need to be where uh in the hospitals,
right.
where
Right.
the
That's
doctors
right.
and nurses.
Hmm.
My
And,
daughter-in-law is scared to death because of that, because they're running out of masks. I got this. I didn't even know this was an N95 mask. Last week, my son came over and we were doing some construction work, and it was and repairing my dishwasher, and had to pull it out and clean it out, and it was dusty. So we ran down to Lowe's. "Hey, you got any masks?" I says, "Well, we got these right here, and that's all we got." I says, "Oh, okay." I just grabbed them, put them on. It wasn't until the next day that somebody said, "Well, it needs to be an N95," and I looked at it. It says right on the front, N95. So,
There you go.
at least I've got four others that I can give to my daughter-in-law so she can use at work. So,
Yeah,
There you
but
go.
one
unbelievable.
one thing about that I want to say real quick is the local contractors union here in Oklahoma, and you know how the unions are. They're liberal, but
Yeah.
they have agreed to give all of their construction masks to the hospital up there that she works at.
Wow.
So, it's bring nothing else. It's bringing Americans together.
Yeah, a lot of changes have been going on, but some of them have been for the better. Just like after 9/11, we kind of all came together in different ways
Yeah.
that we hadn't expected. The same thing is happening here. So churches now are having services online when they didn't have it
Right?
online before. I just saw a church earlier today. They set up a stage in their parking lot.
Yeah, I saw that. Mhm.
And people were driving up and parking in the parking lot to attend church. It was just it was an interesting scene. I think if you're a believer, I think that the Spirit is working in some very interesting ways, and
Yeah.
at the end of this,
Yes.
I think we're going to be stronger for
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I see, and I see it not as just not just our nation, because I'm in contact. Art can tell you, I talked to a lot of guys in Australia, and I see what they're doing over there, and I see as a world we're starting to get a little tighter. We're realizing that, hey, it
Mhm.
doesn't take one little thing like that. We could wipe out the world.
Right.
It's time for us to uh, start cooperating. But I also think one of the best things for the country is we need to pull in and start manufacturing the stuff here in the country
Right.
Yeah.
and not depend on China or Korea or someplace, Indonesia, to be making the ingredients for the pills that we're going to need
Right.
to protect ourselves. We need to start doing stuff here in this country.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
who was it just a year ago or more was telling us that we need to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Donald Trump.
It's
Yeah.
Right.
Donald Trump. I've believed
Okay.
that for years. I mean, here's the one thing I don't understand. 3 miles from my house, we have a Georgia Pacific paper factory. Why cannot we find toilet paper in Muskogee, Oklahoma? They make 90% of it that's sold. And in Tulsa, we have a Kimberly Clark factory that makes toilet paper.
Right.
We should not be out of toilet paper in Oklahoma.
I went
Mhm.
to I went to Walmart. Normally, I go to Walmart. I'm very persnippety about my toilet paper, so I get to choose what brand and so
Mhm.
forth. How many ply, 4 ply, 2 ply, right?
Mhm.
Now you go in. Is it toilet paper? Good, I'll take it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm the same way. I, like the extra gentle, Charmin. It's got to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's. I'll take some military grade toilet paper.
Okay.
Lord knows that was rough.
Even the
We, we,
dryer
we can
sheets work
we can
good.
start we can start ordering local newspapers again because it's paper. Okay.
Mhm.
I made
Yeah.
that comment. Our newspaper, that's really all it's good for. Either that or like
Yeah.
my. I never read it, but my daughter-in-law used it to line her bird cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
That's
you go.
that's what it
New
was
York
worth.
Times. There you go.
Oh, this is some strange times we're in.
Yeah.
It's just
Mhm. Yeah. And I think part of it is the media is fueling. Got people all riled up, and first it started with toilet paper. There was a run on toilet paper. Then they started saying, "Well, look at all these people getting sick in Italy and
Yeah.
Iran."
Yeah.
And these are countries that do a lot of work with China because Iran, they have those sanctions on
Yeah.
them, and China is the only person or the only country that will deal with them because
Right.
they're a communist country. They're not
Sure.
going to give a flip about
Sure.
sanctions. They're going to deal with Iran because Iran is against the United States and the West.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they're going. Same with Russia, and you know, someone made a big to do about Trump's comment on oil prices, but that all started. There is a competition between Saudi Arabia and
Russia.
Russia,
Yeah.
and Russia was trying to tell Saudi Arabia, hey, maybe if we cut our production, we could kind of jack up the price of oil.
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia, they're not dumb. They see how Russia is dealing with their enemy, Iran, and
Yeah.
they're saying, screw you, we're going to increase production
Yeah.
and we're going to collapse your economy because
Right.
Russia, a big chunk of Russia's economy is oil and natural gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It was sort of the perfect storm because you have the coronavirus, you have that going on, you have these countries are getting hit hard from it, and then uh, the low oil prices kind of hurt us in the states, and especially here in Oklahoma because we don't have the extra refined sweet crude that you get out of OPEC, but
Yeah.
we have a good crude, that Oklahoma, Texas, is
Sure.
one of the largest producers of oil
Sure.
Hmm.
until they started fracking up in Montana and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're fracking here too, so
Right.
we've just got that really great. It was really helping our economy right now, but it's recoverable. It's like everything. It's going to bottom out, and then it's going to start to go up again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at South Korea right now. They are handling the virus correctly. So they have one of the lowest rates of infection and the lowest rates of deaths happening in South Korea right now.
Hmm.
But their economy is still working. What they have done is, as soon as they identify someone with the virus, they just quarantine them, not everybody else, just them,
Yeah.
and the rest of the country continues to work. They have protected the elderly and things like people who are susceptible to the virus,
Hmm.
like you talked about earlier, and
Right?
continue on with with business. Uh,
Hmm.
and they've been able to control it better, and they've been able to keep the economy going at the same time. That's what we need to do
Hmm.
here in the U.S.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a country in a whole, we need to be a little more isolationist.
Yeah,
But as an economy, no, we need to be. And this is the time for us to. This is a reset, not just for the stock market. It's a reset for the whole country. I mean, we need to start doing our manufacturing different. We need to start doing it here. I did a episode on my vlog about, you know, we're no longer innovators. We used to, you look what happened in the 50s and the early 60s. I mean, we put a man on the moon by the end of the 60s, and it all started back in the 50s. We were inventing things and building it and making it.
Yep.
We weren't inventing it and then sending to Taiwan to get parts for the computer that was running the Mercury program.
yeah,
We built that stuff right here.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Can you guys tell me what is unique about the coronavirus that is not that wasn't the same with these other viruses that hit our world, the H1N1, the SARS and MERS? What's different with this one? Why is this one such that we have to shut everything down? But those came along, thousands of people died,
Hmm.
and I don't believe anything ever got shut down.
Yeah. I think the main thing is three things. Scott Morrison in Australia, the prime minister there, he's a Trump style person.
Okay.
The prime minister of England, another uh, Trump style person, and
Okay.
Donald Trump. And the press is going after and making it sound worse to stop because all of those economies were starting to pick up. And the press, I think, decided this was a good time to put on the brakes for everything.
Now, yeah,
Just just an observation, Don't know if it's true, but
Yeah.
that's
I agree, Lloyd. Yep.
I think those are the three key factors because the conservative movement was moving too fast around you had Brexit, you
Yeah.
know, and the new prime minister there, he said, "Yeah, we're out, man,"
Yeah.
and that hurt the economy. I think both Italy and I think even Germany was considering leaving the European Union.
Uh,
Right.
So I have noticed looking at the map of the United States that the three hardest hit states for some reason are all liberal states: California, Washington, and New York.
yeah.
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 Just
Yeah.
saying.
It, getting getting 10 or more liberals together is never a good thing. So
Yeah.
That's the truth.
And Lloyd and I, we have a friend here in Colorado who has a tattoo parlor up in Silverton
yeah.
or Silver Thorn. Yeah.
Silverthorne, yeah, up by Dillon.
Yeah. And he's basically shut down. And you don't see old people going to get a
Yeah.
tattoo. And
Yeah.
people with compromised immune system, they don't
They're
want,
not going to get a tattoo.
Yeah.
yeah,
So why did he shut down? Because there's probably never 10 people in there at any given time. So why
yeah,
did he?
that's right. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
so
know, I
barber
think,
shops and salons, hair salons, they're closed down.
and they shouldn't be. I think that counties should be able to say we don't have any infected people in our county right now, so we're not shutting down.
Yeah.
We're going to continue as business as usual.
Mhm.
And then if we do have someone, we're going to quarantine them and keep operating. Because if we don't, we're going to be where we are right now, which is, our economy is tanking
Mhm.
because we're all sequestered in our in our homes.
Mhm.
It doesn't make sense. And I put out a post earlier today saying because there was a Wisconsin county that is putting up a um, rat on your neighbor kind of form.
Oh
If you
boy.
see anybody with larger than 10 people gathering, feel free to report it. So they have now turned us into
Yeah,
the bottom is,
like
without taking our guns away, they have literally shut us down without even removing one single
Yeah,
gun.
without firing a bullet. That because if
Fine.
they tried it the other way, they'd have lost.
mhm.
Right, right. But this way, we're just going to give up. We're just going to be sequestered in our homes and stuff. We can have all the ammo we want, but we're in our home. They don't care about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to apologize to the people in chat. As just said, I suddenly remembered I hadn't checked the chat. Art.
Yeah, I
That's
was
usually
just
my.
about to say hi to everybody. Mitch, old guy in the drone, Rodney Bell, Steve Carpenter, Ed of Love My Drones, Rick Halbert, and I saw Carlos there back from Sky Drone Life RC. Uh, yeah, I think that's about Steve Mack. He's here. He's listening in his car. So yeah, we got a good group. I think last I saw we were up to 10 people. I think that's really good for for this show.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's sequestered in the home. Nobody.
Oh,
Well, yeah. Yeah. That
Randy
could
Schaefer,
be
all
true
the way
too. Yeah.
from Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I I just can't see where the sequester is. It's 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 like you said. I think it's the economy was booming. Everything was going along great,
mhm,
and uh, in some ways, that's what happened with how Barack Obama got elected. Was because our economy took a nosedive right there in just before the election.
yeah,
And
yeah.
uh, McCain suddenly suspended uh,
Campaign. Yeah,
his campaign. Yeah, thank you. And uh, of course, not like it would have been a lot of difference, but
yeah.
that's my opinion. Uh,
Right.
there's
Yeah,
another one where the press
he,
did all our nominating for us.
He
Yeah.
didn't have an active campaign to start with. We suspended him.
Yeah, yeah. And
We were waiting for him to start his campaign.
yeah, I noticed they're talking about bringing. I saw some reference to Como, uh, maybe running now that because Bernie and Joe can't get out there and campaign because they're susceptible. You know,
Yeah.
they're going they're going to nominate Cuomo from the floor at the convention if they even have a Democrat convention
yeah,
because they've been putting him on camera. He's on camera every day.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
Yeah, they're showing him every day, and people are talking about how wonderful he is. I mean, even Republicans are saying how wonderful he is for how he's handling the crisis,
mhm.
and so he's handling it. Uh, you know, he's the way he's handling it is great. The way Trump is handling it is not great, according to the liberals.
Yeah.
according to the liberals. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so yeah, so they're going to elevate him, and you watch.
Mhm.
Something's up. Something.
Oh, I have no
Yeah,
doubt he's gonna because I mean, come on, Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Joe Biden doesn't
I
even know where he is half the time.
well, I think what the thing was is I've noticed a cycle in these presidential elections, and depending on who's running where, they usually have those throwaway candidates,
yeah,
those ones that's their last ditch effort to get it. And if the other party has a strong candidate, you just find somebody to throw under the bus and say, "Yeah, we'll nominate him. We don't need him anyways. Throw him under the bus."
Right.
exactly.
I think that's what they were doing, but now that they've managed to create this monster, the COVID-19, the kung flu. Uh, they've created this wonderful thing that they can rant on about and how Trump's not doing his job, and
Right.
and of course it's put the two old farts into into sequester because God forbid their candidates get it, and I wouldn't want them to get it,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
it's put them into a position that they're sequestered now, or in isolation, quarantine, and they can push Como because even Trump said, when he was the mayor of New York, was saying, "Hey, you need to send us all this stuff." He says, "You need to send the National Guard to supply us," and he says, "I am dealing with the governor, and that's between you and the governor."
Right.
He
Mhm.
says, and the governor's at least doing the right thing, you know. So he they're saying, "Oh wow, even Trump said nice things about Como."
Yeah,
You
I'm
know,
telling you, man, they're setting them up for something. It's
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
And what
and
what gets me are these elitist entertainers coming out and say, "Well, I hope Trump gets COVID-19," and I'm like, "going, really? You really want to say something like that?" And that's what irritates me about the entertainment business because
yeah,
I worked in it
I
for
would, yeah, I
25
wouldn't
years.
use this virus on anybody. I
Yeah,
don't have anybody I hate that much that I wish them death or harm or any
yeah.
virus that would come to them. I don't
Mhm.
care what the political
yeah,
Mhm.
views are. It has nothing to do with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's and unfortunately that's the inhumanity that our godless society has become. Especially in uh, this is a wake up call for this country, for the world. Hey, we need
Right.
to start paying attention because this has been overblown by the press, but it could easily become the worst thing we've ever seen. And uh, it's just really sad because that an entertainer would wish that on somebody. It's
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
I don't care who they are.
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, I'm from the Vietnam era. I would not even wish it on Jane Fonda.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
You know,
So now they're talking about there are some drugs that we use for to treat other ailments that could be beneficial to treat this virus, such as the malaria drug.
Yeah, but
That
you have to take two of them together in
Yeah.
order for it to be effective. And the people who are complaining about that said, well, Trump is giving people false hope. So, it's, it's not like he was suggesting taking aspirin, and just
Yeah.
chill out. If you take those drugs together, they have a really good chance of lessening the symptoms
Yeah.
of the virus,
Right.
which allows you to recover faster. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
cure, but it is
No.
a treatment that
Mm-hmm.
helps you recover faster. And by the way, most of the symptoms for COVID-19 are less harsh than some of the symptoms of the common flu.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things that I about that, because there's we're having, the malaria virus or the malaria medicine. Well, they're, obviously most of that stuff is made in China, and they're keeping it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a company in Israel that manufactures that particular, uh, or they're gearing up to manufacture one of the two, and they are going to manufacture it in Israel and send it directly to the United States. And I I read it the other day, and I wished I had uh, written it down. But
Right.
so as far as the shortage on the malaria stuff, because we're talking, you know, they're sending 100,000 to 500,000 or something for the first batch, and then they're expecting to ramp that up into the millions. You know that they're manufacturing in Israel and be sent directly here to the United States. So you know, and the way some of the liberals have treated Israel, uh, they have no reason to send it to us, but because the way our uh, administration has treated Israel, they're willing to help us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The drug is remdesivir. Is
Yeah, I
one of
can't even
the.
pronounce it, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it,
That's used, I think, in conjunction with the malaria.
yeah.
There's.
And Trump has tweeted out those two ingredients together, those two treatments together are effective. So let's just let's start treating people. Let's start getting people well, and let's start
yeah,
quarantining them, get them well. I just saw another post about them letting prisoners out of prison. So
Oh
let
boy.
prisoners out
Yeah.
of prison because
That'll really
so
make things
if
better.
if a prison population starts to get infected, then you treat them where they are,
Yep.
get the whole population healed without them going anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're good. Because if you let if an outbreak breaks out in prison and then you let everybody out because there's an outbreak in prison, now you just take that outbreak and spread.
you
Yeah.
just released it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, you
like,
just bring it to the community, right?
yeah,
You keep everybody in place, you treat everybody, and then you move on.
you know,
Yeah.
it's, it's like they always say, there's no cure for stupid.
No, there is no.
Yeah.
You
Oh.
can mix all the drugs together you want, but it's not going to cure
It's
stupid.
not going to cure
Yeah.
stupid. And we seem to have an overabundance of it in some of these places.
Mm.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Now, the only way a prison population is going to get the disease is if maybe when a new person or a new prisoner comes in, maybe they should isolate uh, new prisoners from the rest of the general population. And that might mitigate the spread of the COVID-19
Right.
among the prison population.
That's common sense, Art. Now
Yeah,
you're messing stuff up now.
so let's let them all out, and then they'll infect everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Or
Love
they
My Drone
get
just,
sick themselves from being out.
I just
Ah,
read, I read something in the chat, and this is the thing. It says, when Trump wins his second term, I wonder how long it will take for the left to say the election was rigged because they couldn't have a convention. And I wrote up there the next day, the day after the election. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Couldn't have, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's that's you know,
oh, I like what Mitch says. Look, they will say Trump conspired with China.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, let's have. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
colluded with China to cause this whole virus.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
collusion with, yeah,
if he comes out on top, it's definitely going to be him colluding with China on it.
yeah.
Right, right. That'll
Mhm.
be the next great scandal. It's just, I have. I mean, they've gone after him harder than they ever did Richard Nixon,
Oh
and
yeah.
Nixon did do a cover up. He
Mhm.
and I still, I'm still a supporter of Nixon. I don't care. He's human. He did wrong,
Yep.
and uh, and I'm related to him, so I kind of, he's family. I got to stick with him. We can't choose our family.
Yep. Yeah, and I think, you know, Trump's been so hated not only by the Democrats but by Republicans. Uh,
Oh
he,
yeah, the never Trumpers. Yeah.
yeah, he's getting it from both sides. And someone, I think it was Steve Carpenter, who mentioned the other day that Trump is running the country like a business. And somebody said, "Well, you can't run it like a business. There's no profit." He said, "Yeah, but you can make it break even instead
Well,
of going in the
prof-
hole."
the profit comes in the prosperity that is created by what he's doing. So we all benefit from the prosperity of America. As it
Yeah,
grows, we all grow. We all have access to more opportunities. We have access to be able to build our businesses,
Hmm.
which helps our families and our future. So yeah, he should run it like a business because when you do run it like a business, you don't have deficits and you don't have, all these negative downturns and everything else. So yeah, I agree 100%.
yeah, yeah. And that's what we've needed for a long time. My son, who is a police officer, he and I've talked about this. Uh, Somehow I was really lucky. Both my boys turned out to be conservatives. Actually, kind of shocked me.
That is
But and even my grandson, one of my grandsons is conservative. But it's he's saying we need to run this country like a business. You know, he says I can't go out and write a blank check and buy that brand new Mustang I want and not have the money in the bank to cover the check.
Hmm.
You know,
right.
but the country seems to think they can. You know, and that's this is what we've needed. Somebody, right now they're going to start as soon as this is over. I guarantee you, they're going to start saying, "Look how much of the deficit has gone bad because he gave all that money away to help the businesses and the people because of
Yeah,
this coronavirus, and it wasn't that bad after all." Yeah,
yeah.
that's
He
exactly
just
how they'll spin it.
Yep.
yeah, he's just
Hmm.
helping he just helping the 1% keep their money and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
And right now, it's kind of funny because the 1%, there's no better place, even still, for the world to put their money than in America. It's still the best place for them to invest their money. So, you know, it's hard to say what's going to happen at the end of the day, guys. But I'm just hopeful that calmer heads prevail and
Yeah.
common sense starts to come back, and we just get back to business because
yeah,
this is foolishness right here. I heard somebody say that if Hillary Clinton was had been president, this would not have happened. I do believe that there would not have been mass hysteria for the virus. I also believe that had she been president, our economy would not have been as strong to survive something like this. So,
That's true.
yeah.
And also, there is a correlation between uh, prosperity and, for example, a couple making $75,000 or more
Hmm.
tend to vote conservative.
Right.
So that's why the Democrats want to keep the economy down low, because then it creates dependency, and
Well,
those
yeah,
people will keep on voting
yeah,
Democrat.
yeah. Anybody that starts receiving a paycheck and they start getting taxes taken out starts to think about, wait a minute, who
Yeah,
wants
what
to
what
raise
is
my
this money
taxes?
coming for? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a grandson that he graduated high school, I don't know, a year or so. And uh, he started working, I think, when he was, I think, either right after he got out of high school or something like that. And when he got his first check, he wanted to know, what's this FICA stuff? Who's FICA? Why am I having
Yeah.
to pay that? Because they don't teach that stuff in school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They start looking at their the taxes being taken out, and they're like, wait a minute. No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My camera has gotten out of focus.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Lloyd, and that's one of the things
Uh,
that this administration is trying to push in the stimulus package
uh,
is a uh, payroll tax holiday,
right.
and I think that's gonna help out, and then I think us working stiff are going to get $1,000 check.
Yeah. Well, mine's going to the stock market.
Mhm. And I think that's going to help. I've been hearing it's going to be $1,000. No, it's going to be 1,200. And but I think it's going to be $1,000. I think the Democrats are going to try
Yeah.
and up it a little bit. And
Sure. Sure. And
yeah.
whatever it is, I don't care if it's 500. It's going into the stock market.
yeah,
'Cause,
yeah,
you know, instead of us spending on a flat screen TV or something
that's
like
right.
that,
Mm,
let's put it back into the country. So
mhm. Yep. And I had to go on my trip that canceled last week down to Florida.
see,
Yep.
well, the warmer states are going to be the first place the virus is going to be leaving because
Yep.
it can't survive in warm climates.
Hmm.
So maybe we all take a trip. See, what we need to do now is buy a ticket right now on Frontier or some of these airlines for like dirt cheap
Yeah.
Yeah.
to Florida or southern Texas, somewhere where it's really warm. Um, and then as soon as the travel the businesses start opening back up,
Hmm.
then we all hop on a plane and go down there and we're good.
Yep.
Yeah. That's actually a great idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's always a,
It's
there's always an entrepreneurial solution for all this
Yep.
foolishness.
oh,
Yep.
absolutely. Yeah.
That's true.
Take
And
advantage. Take
also,
advantage.
I have a week off for Christmas this year.
Oh,
I won the lottery in my department because each year we get to pick, okay, who gets Christmas week off, and
Yeah,
I got it this year, and I want to go to the Philippines.
there you
It'll
go.
be nice and warm there, and I could see my godson and my god. Well, I probably won't be able to see my goddaughter unless she comes up to Manila because I only have a week off, and that won't give me a whole lot of time to travel about. But
Yeah,
I will bring my girlfriend up from Mendenhall up to
sure.
Manila and maybe stay at Greg Kunert's family resort there in Amadeo.
Hmm.
Uh, I might stay with them, and then I have, you know, I have sort of have family there because of my godson there. So
Right.
it'll be good to
that'd be a good
see.
time to go is around Christmas time,
Yeah,
especially when you live in Colorado.
yeah, yeah. I've been in there. I've been to the Philippines. That was 3 years ago in February, and the weather was just perfect. It was. It didn't rain a lot. We got sprinkles, and it was cloudy except for the last day at the resort in Mindoro. It was a beautiful, partly cloudy sky. It was nice and warm, and then I had to go back to Manila to catch my flight back home. Hey, Ron Lockwood of RL Photography is here.
That's. I was just going to say something about the chat. Art. Uh, Love My Drone said Florida was already overcrowded, but Steve Carpenter says they really need a lot of conservatives out in California. So
Oh yeah,
maybe we should book for LA, you know?
There you go. We could do that too.
yeah,
Yeah. We can buy real cheap tickets to go out to LA and or out to California and, bring a little conservatism to that liberal state.
yeah.
But,
Well, a lot of those liberals are leaving the state and they're going to Texas.
yeah, boy, that just
And
frustrates
they're
me.
coming to Colorado and they're screwing the state up. But,
Yeah. I just,
And that's the only problem. If we go to California, they're all headed here. Then we
yeah,
just screwed up our state even more faster.
yep.
yeah. Well, a couple years ago, I went out to see my sister who lives in New Mexico, right across the Texas border. I mean, literally, the town is divided. It's right on the border of
Oh,
Texas and New Mexico. And so I went to see her, and while I was gone, they held an election to allow selling marijuana in Oklahoma. And I think, man, maybe it was my vote that was missed. I should have never left. Because New Mexico, they already had it. And so I go to a liberal state, and suddenly Oklahoma starts bringing pot on every corner.
yep.
And they came out with which is sad, but they came out with uh, a poll that shows that Oklahoma has more marijuana stores per capita than any other state.
Oh,
We
wow.
we have like, you know, 3 to every 100. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, we got a lot of pot stores here. Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? But it's just like, and yeah. Anyways, I could go off on that. That's another tangent, another rant of mine. But
Right. Hmm. So, what else is on your agenda? What are your other uh, things that are going to be part of your platform, Casper?
Well, as soon as we can get back to business, we are going on a listening tour in Jefferson County. Even though I have a lot of support there, I don't know enough about the workings of Jefferson County as much as I knew Denver and Arapahoe. So we're going on a listening tour in Jefferson County. We're going to talk to the mayors, like I said. I'm
Mhm.
going to talk to the other candidates who have run in 7 before. Mark Barrington,
Yep.
George Anthopoulos, Ryan Ridley, who's
Yep.
been there before,
Kind of froze.
Don
Yep. It kind of froze up there, Casper. And you,
oh,
all those guys.
okay.
Am I back?
You're
Hello?
kind of coming in and out.
I don't know what
And
happened up here.
yeah, well, it's the darn internet. I think the show is getting hot, and we got all these people that are just hogging up our
it's
internet speed
yeah,
and
it's
slowing
YouTube.
it. It's like maybe it's the people at YouTube going, hey, there's that Art Carlson guy at Art's Place. Conservative talk. We need to throttle him back.
Is
Yeah,
it better? Is it better now? Am I back?
Yeah, you're doing a little bit better.
yeah,
Uh,
it's a little better.
yeah, go to some of the smaller towns in the southern part of the county. I think, yeah, pretty much most of Jefferson County is in CD 7. So like Deckers and those little towns.
Yeah.
And then there's, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No. So we have a lot planned to do all that listening tour, like I was saying, and talking to the mayors and talking to other candidates in that district. So
Hmm.
once we can start meeting again, and even before then, we're going to start planning all this out. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we're having a live town hall meeting tonight
Right.
We've been going over a lot of this strategy and plans for 7. Our plan is to let's make Jefferson great again and keep it great.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Well, we did a little over an hour, and Casper, I want to thank you for coming in at kind of a short notice here. Uh,
Well,
and I,
I had to cancel a lot of my other events, so it freed up some time.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being on here because it's always a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, same here, Lloyd.
all right. Take care. You have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time. And I wish you much success on your.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
All
Go
right.
out there and win.
Yes, sir.
All
All
right.
right.
All
Take
right.
care, Casper. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
All right.
All right. Well,
That was
that was a good show.
that was an
So
excellent show.
let's say goodbye to all the folks in the chat. Uh,
Yeah, I do.
Eric and Rick and Steve and Ron and Randy Schaefer. I forgot he's watching us. I think this is the first time he's been to my show. He's out of Michigan, just outside Detroit. He's friends with Elena Olkey, who we've had on
Okay.
a
Yeah.
couple months ago.
We have
So,
Ed Myers and yeah.
yep.
I apologize to the chat. I just enjoy listening to Casper
Mhm,
and having conversations with him. And I just got so wrapped up in that, what we were all talking about. I suddenly remembered, like, oh, I need to look at I had the chat popped out. It was reduced and I didn't see it. So I apologize to all the chat for
mhm.
not acknowledging you guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And God bless you all. God bless this great state of Colorado. And we'll catch you next time on Arts Place. Bye bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.